What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders Awakened Early Access and my full progression playthrough. Now, last episode we went to go take on the Promenade and made it all the way to Wave 17, so really it was beyond my hopes and dreams. Now, one thing, although we didn't make it into the super sweet waves, one thing we did do is we got a ton of loot. Now, I've got my loot filter set to only pick up epics or up, and ended up picking up, almost 11 and a half pages of full loot. Now, that's going to lead to some heavy-duty upgrades. So this episode, we're going to take a look at kind of a before and after of what one prom run will take you to. So, first off, taking a look through all of our starting stats. So, our Waller, of course, the Squire, 311 fort, the only stat we're worried about there. We take a look at our Traptress. We're at 165 fort, 169 power, 91 range, and 46 rate. The Apprentice. Now remember, I did pull all of my points out of range, so this rate number is fluked a bit, as there would be points into range here. But for Promenade, you don't really need the extra range. But right now, as it sits, I'm at 29 fort, 179 power, 36 range, and 149 rate. And then last but not least, the Monk. The Monk's sitting at 134 fort, 158 power, 101 range, and 54 rate. So let's start things off. As you see, I finally did change my Squire over to a guard set. I forgot to mention that in the last episode. Absolutely nothing has any upgrades on it, with the exception of my Apprentice weapon. You see, it actually turned into mythical from upgrades. I don't even have it fully upgraded yet, but this was a level 45 epic, and through upgrading it, it went through the legendary tier and into the mythical range, so very odd, but I'm not complaining. I'll take it. I got myself a mythical staff here. Now, let's start with that Squire. Now, the Squire, of course, is using guard pieces, but first things first, we may have a weapon for him. So let's take a peek at the weapons and see if we have any swords. Now, let's do all of our sorting by item power, which will make it a little bit easier to see what's what. And basically, we're looking for any sword that has more than 2 fortify on it. And of course, no swords are going to have 4. Okay, that one's got 3, so that is an upgrade. Albeit a very, very small upgrade. Still an upgrade nonetheless. What about the rest? It looks like that might be it for us. So, nothing else exceptional here. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at his armor. Now, the Squire is in a guard set. So if we go ahead and just filter out all the armor pieces, we'll take the guard stuff only, and we'll take a look through it. We see just a ton of legendaries here. Once again, the only number we're concerned about is Fortify, and as you see already right out of the gates, holy schmokies, that is a fatty upgrade. I'm just going to go ahead and equip that right now, and then we'll kind of look through the rest of the stuff as we get to it. So there's a big upgrade for Fortify for a chest piece as well. Very, very nice. And just, that one's a small up, but still an up. So I'm just basically going to look through and find everything that could be potentially an upgrade for that Fortify stat. That one's got 10 on it, and my equipped one only has 9. Well, following the rule of what I just said, I'm going to go ahead and get the increased fort on that item, and it looks like that may end up being about it, but let's go through and check it all out. Looks like no more Fortify upgrades. Nothing standing out at me. So, although that wasn't a massive upgrade, it was an upgrade, but we also look at one other thing, and that is my Squire here has 0 accessories. So there is one more fort. We'll take it. Just looking for any of those green up arrows next to fort. And I may have ended up missing one, but we'll see. looks like that is potentially about it. Now, besides just having all this loot, one thing is all this stuff is going to be a nice amount of gold. So I am going to just, like I said, just quickly look through everything and look for another potential fort upgrade. Since I'm not finding it, what I'm going to do is take all of this in gold, because remember, gold is a big part of the game. You're going to use it for upgrades. It is very, very expensive. So the more gold you can get a hold of, the better off you're going to be. Let's go ahead and let's unlock everything and just sell all of our guard stuff. And wow, that got a couple of million gold out of that just from selling off that guard stuff from the one run. Now, one more thing I do want to do is take a look at accessories. So let's see if there are any accessories that my squire can take advantage of. Let's see, the shield I have now has 2 fort on it already. 232. I think I'm just going to take one of these higher item power shields, just because. Now we've got some fort there in the form of a mask. Actually, that's the only one. Let's go ahead and equip that, and it looks like that is all of the accessories I've got right now. Just a couple of masks and those couple of shields. Now, the masks I'm going to end up using on other characters, but these shields, they can just go away, so let me go ahead and just sell those off. So now we're done with the squire. I didn't spend any gold on him, as you saw here, but we did get a slight fort increase just from the squire. Now, this, of course, is going to... what? It's going to put me at 19,000 tier 1 walls right out of the gates, which isn't too terrible. And we don't have any stats to put in, any points to put in, so we'll ignore that one. So let's move on along to the huntress. Now, the huntress acquired my giraffe from my very first Ancient Mines run. So the giraffe went to the huntress. The only reason I didn't put this giraffe on my apprentice was I was using that gemstone to buff 1 defense, which actually was not a very good idea, I don't think. But this is where we're starting off on our huntress. So 165, 169, 91, and 46. Now, first things first, let's just take a peek right at the weapons and see if this huntress gets any sort of an upgrade at all. Let's see, that is our only huntress weapon. Let's see, I would lose 2 range to pick up 2 power. That actually doesn't really seem like it's a bad trade-off, to be honest. But I think for now, I'm just going to hold on to that range. And then we only had 1 more gun here, and that gun was definitely not an upgrade. So alright, let's go ahead and move on over to our armor now. And the huntress is in a primitive set. And we should have, oh man, yeah, we got fatty upgrades here from these legendary pieces. So some big gains right there, all the way across the board, really. Kind of a no-brainer, we're going to equip that. Wow, look at the boots too. More big upgrades, nice stat gains right there. Now let's take a look at this one versus the other. We would lose a lot to gain some more rate, so I'm going to just ignore that piece. And then for these gloves, let's see, we would lose, what, 4 power, but we would gain 4 fort, 2 range, and 6 rate. To me, that seems like a pretty darn fair trade-off right there, as there's a lot more pluses than minuses. So let's go ahead and snag that piece as well. Now we've got 3 legendary pieces now in the huntress, so beast. We would like to find a new helmet though, so why don't we just go ahead and select just the helmets only of primitive and see what is the best. Now we are going to want all 4 builder stats on it, 4 to 5 power, range, and rate. You see the helmet I've got equipped actually doesn't have range on it, so anything with 4 builder stats on it is going to be a big upgrade. Let's see, 4 to 5 power, range, and rate. I mean, that one we would lose 1 power, but we would gain 6 range and 5 rate. That seems like a nice upgrade for the moment, but let's check through and see if there's anything else that really jumps out at us. Now this should be some pretty darn nice upgrades here, that is for sure. You know what, now that I think about it, I failed to refresh the squire stats before I showed the new stats again. Let me see, let's switch over to the squire for just a moment. Or no, 338 is where he was at. And then if we take a look at the huntress now, we're sitting at a much healthier 185 fort, 190 power, 136 range, and 74 rate. This is going to kind of make the huntress a beast all of a sudden. There's no doubt there. That is good stuff. Now, moving right along, we know we have masks, so let's go ahead and grab a mask. Or do we want a mask? Do I want the masks on my other two? Well, I tell you what, let's just grab this mask for now. It's not much of an upgrade, it's only 2 range. But that's going to give me a couple more range points there. Now, alright, taking a look at the apprentice. Now, I'm just going to go right away and equip this mask on the apprentice. However, I know this weapon is still not even upgraded yet, and it was a good roll, so I'm just going to hang on to this weapon for the moment. Let's jump right on in and take a look at the armor. Now, looking through our stats, as you see, I prioritized power and rate. I am definitely going to have to go back into range when I start playing around with some other maps, but right now it's all about Promenade, and my next map I'm going to do is another Promenade survival run. With that in mind, I really don't need to play much with range, pardon me. So this is where I'm sitting right now. 29 fort, 180 power, 38 range, 149 rate. Let's see if we can't juice that up a little bit, and we'll start off with some militia gear. Looks like we got a nice few legendaries here, but, you know, it looks like it's all the same pieces basically, but holy crap. Man, it's just so nice to see all those big gains. Let's go ahead and equip that right out of the gates, and we'll take a peek through the rest of the stuff and see if there's anything else that jumps out at me. Wow. 5 fort, 10 power, 10 range, and even on rate. That is just a nice upgrade right there. Let's go ahead and equip that. Taking a look at these other boots, they're not spectacular. And then we've got what? These gloves, we would gain 2 fort, we would lose, what, 7 power, but we would gain 4 range and 7 rate. So once again, I do think this is a fair trade. Although I do lose a little bit of power, I've got big ups as far as everything else goes there. So let's go ahead and equip that piece, and now we're going to be looking for a nice chest. So let's go ahead and take everything off but the chests and see what we can get here. Let's see, we would gain a bunch of power back on that one, but we lose a little bit of range and 1 rate. Let's see if we can find anything a little bit friendlier here. Doesn't look like it. It looks like this one might be the one. Now, looking at this piece, it's a level 60 piece versus a level 24 or a level 45 piece. I would lose what? I would lose 5 total points, 4 points from range and 1 point in rate. However, I'm going to gain 10 total points. I'm going to gain 4 points on fort and 6 points on power. Now, one thing, the fort I'm not really caring about too much. However, that 6 points of a gain on power is enough to make me want to go ahead and use the piece and sacrifice a little bit of the range and rate. So let's go ahead and use that item, and let's clear the rest of this malicious stuff as well. I'm going to need to do that with the rest of these also. So let's sell all this. 4.6 mil, we're coming up there nicely. Now let's see, we already looked at primitive gear. Let's clear out our primitive gear. That's going to take us up to 6 mil. So sweet. And then what was left? Did I do the guard gear already? Yeah, I already did the guard gear. Alright, so here is where we're ending up on the apprentice. We got over that 200 power mark. So 53 fort, 207 power, 66 range, and 182 rate. Now the range is still weak. If I'm doing any map other than Prom, I'm just gonna want more range, but I can easily acquire that by moving some points around in our actual rune stats. So 200 power now, over the hump. Well, let's take a look and see what my rate is now. Wow, my flame bursts are now hitting it every 0.65 seconds. So that right there, just that speed increase alone, will without a doubt buy me at least one more wave in prom. There's no doubt at all. And then, last but not least, let's take a look at the monk. Now, the monk was the proud owner of my very first rock from when I went through Ancient Mines. 4 to 5 power and range, not a great rock by any means, but of course this was an insane quality rock. Now looking at the monk, the first saying, let's go right for a weapon. So the monk is going to have a weapon. There's no doubt in my mind. And basically I'm just looking for a weapon with all 4 builder stats. 4 to 5 power, range, and rate. This one right here will get the job done for me. I could go through and see if there's anything else with all 4 builder stats that would potentially be a little bit better. Oops, that wasn't even a monk piece. I think I'm going to be pretty happy with what I've got here and just stick with it for now. Let's see, we've got a couple more monk items down here. No, nothing else exceptional there. Now, oh, I forgot to look at the stats. Well, let's look at the stats with the new weapon. I am at 137 fort, 160 power, 99 range, and 60 rate. Now, the reason I went fort so much on these, particularly early game, fortify is a big quality of life thing for anything that's going to get thrown on the ground. So traps, auras, fortify is going to be so nice. So that is why I've gone so heavily into fort here. But let's see what we can convert this to and see what we can get it up to. Now, let's move on to armor next. So we're going to go all of the armor pieces. The monk is in minor gear. And oh man, we got 3 pages of loot here. Very nice. So taking a look, man, a win all the way across the board minus that defense rate. But it is well worth gaining 4 points of fort, 3 points of power. What is that? 8 points of range, all to lose 1 rate. That's kind of a no-brainer. I am all over that. So let's equip that piece. Taking a look at our chest. Now this chest, although it's got wonderful stats on it, it doesn't have all 4 builder stats. I really do want all 4 builder stats on my monk since my monk is a primary builder. So I'm going to pass over on that piece and wow. All 4 builder stats, a big upgrade in every single stat. Kind of a no-brainer there. We're using those gloves. And, oh man, this is a tough one here. Now, out of the one stat I don't care a ton about, it would be rate early game on the monk. 4 to 5 power and range are going to be my main 3 stats that I care about early game, and we are definitely early game. I think let's equip that chest and then we'll take a look. Yeah, I think that chest is going to be the way to go. And then now what do we have left? We've only got a headpiece left for an upgrade. So let's take a look at just the helmets. And let's see. Power, range, and rate. Although it's a big upgrade, it's not the stats I'm looking for. Here we go. We got all 4 here. We would lose, what, 1? We'd lose 5 power, but we would gain 5 range and 9 rate. So, I mean, that is a big upgrade right there. There's no doubt. Let me go ahead and equip that one, and then we'll just kind of look through what else we have. What else is available here? Now, once again, the monk is really going to shine with all 4 builder stats. If there was one stat I would be willing to ignore, it would be rate. But 4 to 5 power and range, I can't seem to get all 4 with some decent upgrade points into each one. I think that helmet may be the one that I'm going to use. Indeed. And let's go ahead and get rid of all of our minor gear now. What's that going to get us to? 7.6 mil. So nice. And we take a look at our stats now. We're 154 fort, 177 power, 131 range, and 77 rate. So we got some big ups across the board really on the monk and looking really, really nice. Now I think that was it for my accessories. Let's double check. Yeah, that was it there. However, I do also have a new pet now, the hand pet here. And I'm going to just look through and see if this would be an upgrade on any of my other heroes. So it's got 4 to 5 power and range. Instantly I want to go right to the squire, and that's kind of a no-brainer. I'm going to get 9 free for it on my walls. So this sturdy gemstone can now go away. So that's not bad. That takes my squire up to 347 now? Is that right? Yeah, 347 for it. That is just really, really nice for an entry-level squire. And now we only have one task left. That one task would be to fine-tune a set of gear and to get to level 70. And the best way for me to accomplish both of those tasks right now is to do one more Promenade Insane Survival. Now, I do want to do it on hardcore mode just to guarantee that I'm going to, be getting the maximum loot possible. But without a doubt, Promenade Insane Survival Hardcore is the place for me to go next. Now, that will do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. See some nice gains on these characters just from that one prom run. Plus, I'm sitting on 7 million gold. Now, looking at just that alone, I could get some real power upgrades by just throwing a little bit of that gold, not even that much of it, just a tiny bit of that gold at my gear. Remember that I'm going to get a 40% builder bonus, which means if I put 10 points into something on my gear, I'm actually going to get 14 points out of it. And the cheapest and smartest way to do that, of course, is to not go all into one piece, but just put a few upgrades into each item. That you're going to get the most impact and stats for the amount of gold spent by doing that. So, actually, before I end off this episode, let's do that on our apprentice. So, we take a look at the apprentice. The main thing I'm going to focus on is the power stat. So, right now, I'm at 207 power. Let's do a few upgrades on the apprentice. I'll make it the rule, I'm not going to spend 1 million gold. So I'm going to keep my expenditures here below 1 million gold, which is really nothing. When we get into nightmare mode, we're going to make 30, 40, 80 times that just in one wave. So spending 1 million gold right now is really nothing. And all I'm concerned about is power. So I don't want to go over 250,000 gold spent in one category. Actually, that's 277, so we'll have to go lower there. And we just added 7 power points to our helmet. Taking a look at the chest here, we'll put just 6 points into it to even out our gold to stay under 1 million spent. We'll go with the gloves. We'll just throw... Well, we'll go 7 points there as well, and then we'll go 6 points on our boots here. So that's going to get us a few more points. So we did 2 6s and 2 7s. That's what? That's 26 total points that we should go up. However, we're at 207. If we go out and go back in and look, we're now at 243. And that is because we got that set bonus kicked in on top of the upgrades that we already put in. So I didn't spend much gold, and I got a nice little gain out of the deal. So that will do it for this episode. Thank you all an absolute ton. Hopefully everyone's having an absolutely wonderful week so far, and I will see you all soon in the next episode. Thanks again. Take it easy.